Early recruiting has taken over, our sport.
It's not something, quite frankly, that I'm very comfortable with, or my staff.
And I've spoken to many parents who feel that this is crazy, this is early, but I don't want my daughter to lose out on an opportunity, and this is when it's coming down the pike. So what do we do?
I feel that it is incredibly early.
We are recruiting freshmen and sophomores in high school.
We have some evidence that there are 8th graders that are committed to college, and not just in the men's lacrosse, but in a number of different sports.
And the influence of early recruiting is certainly trickling down to the middle school level as well as the youth levels for lacrosse.
For the betterment of the student athletes, it's really important that we try to do everything in our power to slow down the early recruiting.
I just believe it just sets up a very unhealthy situation for everyone. I just don't see the benefit.
Yeah, I probably will know where I'm going to college early fall of my sophomore year, which is crazy. It's insane to think about.
But it's a shock. And having a 14-year-old have to make a life decision is a lot to ask.
You're a freshman and you're thinking, where do I want to go to college? And then you're thinking, what do I want to do with my life? It's like the whole world is falling on top of you.
I had to start researching colleges when I didn't even have my license yet. And that was really scary for me.
It's a delicate time for people. I mean, it's hard enough being a high school girl, and then you add the pressures of recruiting, and a lot of people see that as a measurement of self-worth.
I was placing so much pressure on myself because I felt like I had to be recruited or else I was not going to be validated as a player.
The college recruiting processes still freak me out because last year I was getting ready for high school, and this year I'm getting ready for college.
I mean, you're a freshman in high school and you're being asked to say where you're going to go in 4 years for the next 4 years. It's an 8-year gap.
We feel like we have to do it because of, the pressures to win as a college coach and also to keep up with the Joneses.
As a college coach, I obviously have seen a lot of 9th graders and talked to them, had them in my office because we've kind of been forced to do this.
I had fall freshman girls in my office. They'd only been in high school for a month and they'd never even stepped foot on a high school field. That is too early.
The first question is, do we think this is good for kids? And I don't know anybody that does. I don't think high school coaches do. I don't think parents do. I don't think high school guidance counselors do.
I've taught everything from kindergarten all the way through grad school, and I just know that at that age, those kids are really, really young and they don't have a clue, honestly, what they want.
They haven't really peaked as an athlete yet. They have no idea what their academics are going to look like over their 4 years of high school.
So I find that we don't spend enough time talking about academics and career choices with these young men and women, because at that young age, they really shouldn't know what they want to major in college and what they want to be doing with the rest of their life.
Students in middle school now think that they have to make a college choice. I don't see how anyone can possibly be prepared to make that kind of decision.
And really they haven't matured to an age where they're capable of making that decision that soon.
They're going to struggle with making an independent decision. They may be inclined to please their parents or coaches in this decision rather than think about what's right for them.
Kids' parents are concerned about getting positioned on the correct team in the correct place at the correct time in order to improve their chances of being recruited.
When you're recruiting 8th graders, which is what's going on now in our sport, then that affects what happens to 6th and 7th graders. And I don't think that's what youth sports are about, and yet that's inexorably where this goes.
Over and over again, I hear the fear that by the time these kids are sophomores, maybe juniors, that there'll be no spots left for them.
My daughter is 14 or just turned 15, and she's fortunate, she's athletically talented, but the pressure is immense on her, and she doesn't, I don't know if she's fully enjoying high school athletics because of it.
Their parents are looking to set up their children, but they don't even know their children yet. Their children haven't faced any challenges. Athletically, sure, yeah, you're a better 9th grader than the other 9th graders. You're bigger, stronger, or faster, but that's only a small part of what what our mission is.
And it's really wrong, in my point of view, to ask a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid to make one of the most important decisions of his or her life.
They need to be able to be kids is really what it comes down to. They need to go through the process of learning from their mistakes. They need to go through the process of having incredible challenges that lead to incredible success on the other end.
They're starting to think at 7th and 8th grade about what they need to do to be recruited in college instead of just enjoying playing.
Just because a young teen is physically mature or has well-developed physical skills, that doesn't mean their intellectual development or emotional development is going to match.
You know, I think for a lot of parents, it's kind of cool to get the bumper sticker and say my kid's going to Duke kind of thing, or my kid's going to play for this school. But in reality, it puts a lot more pressure on them, and I find that there's a lot more pressure between the parent and the kid.
Not having kind of that full high school experience where, you know, you can feel like you can be involved in the dance program at your school or the music program in addition to being a student athlete. We've definitely seen a move towards specialization and kids only focusing on lacrosse.
A lot of players are giving up other sports that they enjoy, and I also think that help them develop as an athlete.
A student decides on a sport as a freshman in high school, you know, what motivates him to continue to be a multi-sport athlete, to play in the other games, which I think hurts his development as a lacrosse player.
So now they're specializing and they start to get injured more, they start to more likely to burn out, and we all know when they get to college it's a full-time job now and they have to do just that sport. Unfortunately, by putting that pressure on them, by signing early, we're not helping by any means.
You know, we don't need kids for 4 years feeling like they need to attend all of these events. They need to feel like they can focus on being a kid and playing other sports during the early years of their high school.
So I could definitely keep going, but it's at least these reasons are compelling enough for me to advocate against the practice of early recruiting. You need to give these kids time to develop and mature intellectually and emotionally so that they have the capacity to make a decision about what will be a hugely influential part of their lives.
We'd certainly like to see the NCAA adopt a proposal that sits in front of it right now. I think it's neat and simple. I think it could be very effective.
Adopting this new legislation is a good idea. I think in the big picture it benefits everybody, and I think across the board better decisions, more informed decisions, more well thought out decisions will be able to be made.
Rules need to be put in place for this to slow down. Parents aren't going to do it because they don't know. Coaches aren't going to be able to do it themselves because there's a competitive market.
I'm hoping that the NCAA will step in and help these coaches, save them from themselves, because they're going to keep pushing the envelope as much as they can.
It's time for lacrosse to be a leader among sports, to slow down this recruiting process and let young girls and boys be just that, young girls and boys.
You know, when you are in high school, you start thinking about college as your junior year, and I think that that is the right time.
They are so much more fully formed as thinkers, as learners.
They have matured as an athlete, matured as a person. They know what their academic situation is like. They know what schools they're capable of getting into academically. And at the end of the day, not every school is a good fit for everybody.
They're not going to college to play lacrosse. They're going to college and they're going to play lacrosse while they're there.
So students should be allowed to explore, should be able to dream, explore, but work towards a goal. It just makes more sense.
Everybody is going to be better off. There's no con in any way, shape, or form to pushing this recruiting date back to September 1st of the junior year, and I 100% wholeheartedly support it.
Because it will bring sanity back to our sport. It's not necessary to commit kids at such an early age. It causes a lot of undue stress for both parties.
I think today kids are very anxious, and we are adding to that anxiety at a very young age when they have a lot on their plate.
The idea of slowing this down is universally accepted. There are no opponents to this proposal.
The only way to really curb that is going to be with NCAA legislation. I don't think anything else is going to have the effect that NCAA legislation would have in curbing the early recruiting.